Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. We're trying something a little different today. We're gonna try our little lives in the morning. I always gotta say thank you, G Mama, for getting me inspired to do this. I like G Mama, she was doing her morning lives, and they gave me a kind of an idea to try to do some vertical live streaming this morning. We're gonna be talking our blueberries because this is National Blueberries Month. And it took my sister to bring that to my attention because I should have already known. Mike's Chaotic Garden in there. What's up, Mike? What's up, Mike? Can you hear me, Mike? Because I'm not sure if you all can hear me. I'm doing something a little different today, so I don't know if the audio is coming through. I no, I think I hear something now.
Good
Tammy,
morning. Good morning.
there you go. I can hear you now.
I was chatting. I was chatting with everyone in the chat.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're waiting on
yeah.
you.
So we are good. So I got Tammy in here. That's Tam. That's my managing moderator. I see we have Mike's Chaotic Garden in here. So Tammy, acknowledge our moderators who are in the room already.
Okay, G Mama is in the house. Hi. Good morning. Mike's Chaotic Garden is in the house.
That's
Thank you
what's
guys for
up.
joining. Let's see. Nikki Walker, thank you. She was the first one to join this morning.
What's up,
Happy
Miss Nikki?
Friday.
What's up, Miss Nikki? So what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna just be like I was telling you this. We have our curds and our whey right here. Can you see that? Let me put this down. This is what I use on my blueberry bushes. We're going to be talking about blueberries today because, as Baby Sis brought it to my attention, this is National Blueberries Month. And I got all my blueberry bushes over here. So we're going to walk over here to the blueberries and just get a little something going. We're going to be in here probably about an hour. So, how's everybody doing this morning? How you doing this morning, Baby Sis?
I am doing wonderful this morning. Thank you for getting me up a little bit
Yeah.
earlier. I want to say good morning to Shawnee. Shawnee
What's up?
Groves. Happy Friday.
What's up, Shawnee? Thank you for coming in. Shawnee's another one of our great moderators. Is Shawnee on there as a moderator?
She is not a moderator. No, I don't see a little thing by her name.
Okay. I don't know why Shawnee's not a moderator. Zay, can you make Shawnee a moderator? I got a whole team out here today. I'm feeling special. I'm, I'm feeling special today. I got a camera person. I got one person sitting there manning the system on the inside. Then I got Tammy doing the audio for me. So I can't read the chat, but that's what we got Tam on here reading the chat to make sure that we stay engaged with everybody. So I'm gonna sit this stuff down here, and like I was saying, it's National Blueberry Month. So we gonna be out here celebrating these beautiful blueberries that we have here. Now my berries have already fruited. I started fruiting in May, June, and here we are in July. But here's the beautiful thing about this: my bless your heart is starting to fruit again, and this is a surprise to me. So I didn't even know that this would do this. This is the first year I've let the bless your heart bloom because we put these in last year. So this is my first year really experiencing the bless your heart. And it looks like they're continuously blooming because this was my last bloomer, but it's continuously blooming. So that's a surprise for me. This thing's been going for almost a month now. So that's a really good surprise for me. Is my audio pretty decent, Tam?
Yeah, you sound good. You look good. So I wish
Okay,
I
all
wasn't
right.
on most of this on half of the screen, but that's the best we can do with YouTube live stream.
Yeah, we're gonna make this thing work. So what I do every morning, even with my blueberries, and like I say, even here, you can come right here and you can really see, you can get a good shot of this. All of these new berries coming in. This thing is really putting on a lot of berries. It's crazy. Can you guys see that? Can you see that, Tam?
Yeah, looks good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So The surprise to this whole thing, like I said, this is my first year growing the Bless Your Heart. I've had it last year, but I put it in this year. So to see the difference in it, and this is one of the things that I always try to say to everybody why I like growing what it is that I talk about. If I'm growing it, I can experience it. I can better tell you the things that go or don't go with the features of the bush. So this is something that I'm just learning, and I've heard nobody even talk about this. This thing has been blooming for a whole month. We've already harvested the tree and then allowed the birds to get a hold of it. And now it's putting on a second round of berries. I mean, just after we've already harvested the entire tree. And we got, uh, I want to say, 7 pounds off of this the first year. So 7 pounds is not bad, but you should be anywhere from 7 to 20 pounds, 7 to 14 pounds, I should say, per bush per year. But this is I mean, this is a very pleasant surprise to be able to
Show
see
the
this thing starting to bloom all over again.
Can the camera person show the blueberry bush a little bit closer?
Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what's the part I'm talking about. Look at all these berries on here. Yeah, that's crazy. So this is a surprise. Like I said, I tell everybody I'm learning just like you're learning. So as I go through and learn the things that I'm doing, I can translate that information over to you guys. And like I said, this is an actual surprise to me because a couple of days ago I saw the buds coming in, but to actually see them starting to form blueberries. This particular bush here, this is a Bless Your Heart. We just put this in last year, but I would imagine I got it from the nursery. So probably in the nursery, it was probably, I want to say, a year old at the nursery. I've had it for a year, and then I put it in the soil. So it's going into its third year, but it's the first year that I've had it in my garden. And what I'll do is I'll show you. Now look at this bush now. I'm 5'10". Of course, it's a little in the raised bed, so you can see how tall it is. And I'm gonna show you how much this bush has grown since last year. Um, yeah, just kind of push, and then I'm gonna pull to the side here. If you see all of these right here, just kind of just angle this way. You ain't got to worry about the house garden, just because you're not gonna get all of that. Just give it a straight angle. You see all of these? This is what that bush looked like last year. This is my sweetheart, and the sweetheart definitely gives you two blooms over the year, and you can see she's putting on all this new growth. You see all this pretty green here, that light colored green? That's the new growth that's coming in, and that's what she's put on this year. I mean, these bushes have just really taken off. And of course, this is that mix that I use on all of my blueberries, that 50% peat moss, 25% mini pine bark nuggets, and 25% compost. That is my combination on all my blueberry bushes. But the reason why I brought you over here was to show you this is what that bush looked like last year. So you're talking about 1 year growth. All of the matter of fact, this entire row here was put in fall of last year. And then you look at the bushes that's been in for 2 years, they've already caught up with those. And all of this has everything to do with the growing medium. So, like I say, it's National Blueberry Month. So that's what we're talking about today, blueberries. If you got any questions about your blueberry bushes, if you're having some issues with your blueberry bushes, this is the time to ask those questions. Right now, your blueberry bushes, if they are not fruiting, then they're probably going through their second growth stage. And here is what you're going to be having happen after they go through their fruiting. You see all of that new growth? That's going to be where your berries are going to be at next. All your new growth is where your berries are going to be at. So, what's going on down there in the chat, Tam?
Okay, and it looks it's looking pretty in Atlanta this morning, huh?
Oh man,
in
the sun
Georgia?
is coming up. Yeah, the sun is coming up. And that's why I wanted to get out here early. I know it's early for everybody. It's we're in that 8 o'clock hour, and a lot of people are working. But I wanted to just do something a little different, and like I say, inspired by G Mama. So I'm gonna keep shouting G Mama out on this one. I like the way she was out in the morning doing her morning chores in the garden. So I was like, hey, let me uh let me try something like that because I think that's a good medium, and we may still do some stuff in the evening, but my schedule is so crazy. And then of course with it being so hot, you can't really get out here and show the garden in the middle of the day. And this is what it really is about, the garden, sitting in front of the camera inside the house and talking. That's cool, but I just like to be outside and just showing around the garden. So again, National Blueberry Month. So this is what we're talking about this morning. And what I have down here, huh?
Wait a minute, Keith. So, Joan McNair said, "Good morning, Mr. Blueberries. Where's your blueberry attire this morning?" It's
Yeah, you know what? And my wife told me to put on my blueberry because I got the little blueberry, the blueberry, not blueberry. I got the little blueberry outfit. But you know me, I'm always kind of last minute on everything. But I got my little trusty sprayer here, and what I have inside of this, and this is the question that so many of you guys ask me about. It's like, what do I spray? And I wanted to do this because this has been sitting up now for about 2 weeks, and you can get a good camera close up. You see where the curds are up here. Can you see that, Tam?
yes.
The little floating cheese looking stuff up top.
Mm-hmm.
That's the curds that are separating from the whey. And what this is just regular whole milk. It's like grade A milk, and it's spoiled. And what happens is the curds go to the top, and the whey goes to the bottom. I take this liquid out the bottom, and I mix that 50-50 with rainwater or distilled water, and that's what I spray on my blueberry bushes. So we still got the morning dew going right now, so I wouldn't spray it this morning because it really wouldn't do a whole lot. But this is what I spray on my blueberry bushes, and I spray this probably every 3 weeks or so if we've been getting a lot of rain, which I think this week we're supposed to get more rain than anything. I'll spray it on a little more often. But during the normal summers where we're getting the dry spells, this is really when you want to put that on because you have stuff like anthracnose and septoria. Those are the two main diseases that affect our blueberry bushes, and it also affects rose bushes. So I hear a lot of people asking me about the septoria and uh, the other fungal diseases that happen with rose bushes. So the blueberries are very similar to the same type of diseases that the rose bushes get. So I haven't used this on a rose bush, but I wouldn't hesitate to use it on a rose bush. You can spray this stuff the way 50-50 on your squash plants, your tomato plants. You will literally eliminate powdery mildew, downy mildew, powdery mildew, all of those funguses. Because basically, what this is a lactobacillus, and that lactobacillus colonizes the leaves of the plant and does not allow any fungal infections to land on the plant. Because what you have basically with the powdery mildew and downy mildew, they basically are spores and they land on the plant. And a big part of that is because people are not mulching their beds. And you'll see that's a common theme in everything that I have around the garden. There is no such thing as bare soil wherever you have around the garden. And that's something that you guys may want to take into consideration. If you are having any powdery mildew issues or downy mildew issues, cover your soil. You got to have your soil covered because when you don't have that soil covered, that's where those spores come up. When that rainwater hits down on the soil, it splashes back up. That splashes on your leaves, and then that's where your powdery mildew starts to come in at. Somebody asked, does it prevent mildew? It does. It prevents powdery mildew. Who asked that question? Can you
Um,
highlight that?
I was okay. So Let me know you're done with that because I had someone asked another question.
Go ahead, ask the questions.
So just another girl in her garden says, I added blood and bone meal to mine. Should I repot it? I'm new to this.
Now, you're saying you added blood or bone meal. Please clarify that. Are you adding blood and bone meal to your blueberry bushes? Because
No,
for me,
I think the powdery mix, the mix you were talking about.
no, the blood and bone meal would be a fertilizer. So I don't. I think she's talking about she fertilizes with blood and bone meal.
Okay,
Now,
okay.
now, me personally, I don't use blood and bone meal. Now, I've heard that you can, I've read that you can, and I've heard that people do it. But me personally, I don't use blood and bone meal on any of my blueberry bushes because they're real sensitive to nitrogens. They like that ammonium nitrate. Uh, but the thing that works best for me, and I can't express it enough, is the cottonseed meal. When she repot her blueberries, when you're repotting your blueberries, I don't use blood or bone meal. I don't. I use a cottonseed meal. If you're not going to use cottonseed meal at Spoma or any of the big bag brands, have like you can get like a organic azalea mix or something like that. We'll put in it. Like I said, you can use blood and bone meal. I personally don't, and the reason why I don't is because I've been successful at using cottonseed meal. I use a quarter cup of cottonseed meal in each one of my beds twice a year. That's once in the springtime, and then I'll do it again coming to season. So when we get around September, I'll use the cottonseed meal again, and I may even include some soil acidifier in it just to kind of make sure that I'm maintaining the soil. Now, a pH meter, and I should have brought my pH meter out here with me. Um, I'm trying to think if my son would know where it is.
Keith, and just another girl in her garden. When you asked her, she said it's when she potted her blueberries.
Yeah, yeah,
That was
blood and bone meal, you can use it, but me personally, I have never, so I can't tell you the experience with the blood and bone meal because I've never used the blood and bone meal, but I have read that you can use blood and bone meal, and one of the reasons why I'm not sure that blood and bone meal would work well with me because the cottonseed meal is a 611 or 622, depending on what brand that you get. That 6% nitrogen, this is what it does. When you start talking about blood meal is a 10% nitrogen. So that little 4 extra percent of nitrogen makes a big difference in terms of boosting the greenery in your plant, but sometimes it may come at the expense of the berries. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you want a good, let me put this down. You really want a good balance and finding that sweet spot that really works. And I can't express to you enough about the blood. Look at that, we got a dragonfly over here coming in. She just flew off. But I can't express enough about why that cottonseed meal has hit that sweet spot for me. Because again, you're talking about a plant that was in the 2.5, maybe 18 inches last year when we put these in. Look at the growth on here. This is probably about 5 foot of growth. And I hear a lot of you guys saying that you've been growing your bushes for years and you still the same size as my plants over here that are just cuttings off of the pot. Let me bring one of those over here. You don't have to follow me over here, babe. But I'm gonna bring one of these over here because these are my cuttings. This is a sweetheart. And I'm gonna bring this back this way. This bush is a cutting that I took off of my sweetheart bush last year. And you guys were with me when I actually did this. So I have a lot of people that tell me their bushes that's been in the ground are this size 2 years later. That is no. This bush will be this size next year. If I put this in the ground in the fall, about the fall of the following year, we'll have this much growth. And I know that's kind of amazing to even believe that in 1 year this bush can do this. But yes, we're talking about, look at the difference of these.
Wow,
You're
that's a
talking
big.
about
That's
going,
hmm
yeah, you're talking about going from here to here in a year's time. And
wow.
that is what this entire system is that I do. And the potting mix is 50% peat moss, 25% mini pine bark nuggets, and 25% compost. A quarter cup of cottonseed meal. I mix all of that into one, and twice a year, spring and again in fall, or late summer, I should say. So spring, early spring. I can't hear you.
Okay, Keith. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you got questions coming in. So when you're done,
Yes,
we're gonna ask a few questions.
yeah, go ahead, because this is all about the viewers today. You know what I mean? Because I know we get out here and we get to talking, and one of the things that I hate when I go into a live is when the the content creator does not engage with the viewers, and that's one of the things that I wanted to do. And even setting this thing up the way we have it this morning. So I got a camera person, I got Tammy doing my audio, who's reading the chat, so she's responsible for moderating me. So if we're not talking to you, you could blame it on Tammy. So yeah, Tam, you got to cut me off, Tam, and let me
Yeah, I
know
have to
when
cut
people
you
are
off because
asking
you were
questions.
talking.
Yes, yes. So what was the question we were talking?
So good morning, Dr. Self Talks Money. Okay, so she's
Okay,
asking
Dr. Sid.
she's asking what was the potting mix again? You said 50% peat moss
50% peat moss,
and
25%
25%
mini pine.
compost.
Yeah, 25% mini compost. I'm sorry, 25% mini pine bark nuggets and 25% compost. Dr. Sev, you're over at McDonough, so we may do a little collab or something like that where I may come out there because we that's one of the ones we sent her the sweetheart blueberries, Tam.
Yeah, I
And
remember. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and she's over in McDonough, and I think it might be a good little thing. Maybe we'll hook up sometime, and I'll go over there and kind of just, maybe show her a little something, just fix a little bed up, and maybe even bring a little gift. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for that, Keith. And make sure you let everyone know too about the blueberry guide if they, have any questions on need any tips and everything on a blueberry.
Yeah, because this is national, and it's crazy because blueberries are definitely my favorite thing to grow, and I don't even want to say that I've kind of gone overboard with it because I have 8 bushes in ground slash my little raised bed thing. I have 21 blueberry bushes in all. With that 21 blueberry bushes, I have 13 different varieties, and I guess for me it's just more of an experience thing because with the blueberries, not only do I want to just talk about the blueberries, I want to be able to really expound upon any conversations that one may have about their particular blueberry bush. And that's the reason why I have so many. Because like even with the Bless Your Heart, and this is a perfect example, the Bless Your Heart is a rabbit eye. It's a late bloomer. Uh, the companion plant, you always hear me talking about companion planting or its companion. That means the plants that are best suited to cross pollinate with this particular bush because the rabbit eyes will not cross pollinate with any of my other bushes, which are southern high bushes or the northern high bush. The rabbit eye is its own little, uh, I guess it might be its own little country. So, with that being said, which bushes to pair together that gives you a better opportunity to have the best fruit and the most productive and the largest fruit. So by cross pollinating, it adds all of these different things to your thing. Like I said, this is just brand new to me. To bless your heart. This is my first full year with having it in the ground and allowing it to fruit. So watching it do what it's doing now, this is new to me. And that's why I tell you guys all the time, I'm learning just like you're learning. So when you bring these things to me, you have the questions. I want to be able to grow the plants. That way I can personally experience it and I can actually tell you firsthand rather than what it is something that I read in a book or somebody told me or I heard on the internet. I can tell you firsthand this is the longest blooming bush that I have now. No question about it. So
Okay, Keith. So Sonia Pollard, good morning, Sonia. She's asking, do you have to transplant blueberry bushes in the ground?
no, you do not. And as you can see here, this is a sweetheart. This is a cutting from this bush here. And when I say this started off as just a little twig, that's how that bush started a year and a half ago. This is what it looked like a year and a half ago. So I'm gonna bring this over so you can kind of well, yeah. So basically, when I say a cutting, you see this green, you see all this green right here. This is a perfect candidate for a cutting. And what I'll do is I'll just take the tip off of it, strip a couple of the leaves, and then I'll put this in sand and peat moss. And I'll use my own little rooting hormone. I use what is it? Raw honey, um, aloe vera, and cinnamon. And I mix those three together, 1 tablespoon of each. And I'll dip the tip of I dip the root end of the blueberry bush in that, and then that'll start to form roots within the next probably somewhere it takes around 4 to 8 weeks before I'll even touch them. But like I said, this looked like this a year and a half ago. This is all this was. And people are fascinated when they say, how in the world are these bushes growing this fast? And not just growing because, like the person was talking about, the putting the nitrogen, which is your blood meal, and the bone meal. The blood meal is going to cause that plant to grow a lot of greenery, but it's going to suffer with its fruit production. So you're offsetting the balance inside of the plant. But what I found was that cottonseed meal has that perfect blend. Uh, I know some people have some questions about the cottonseed meal because cottonseed is cotton. I mean, and it grows GMO. So a lot of people have some concerns about that. But the cottonseed meal is organic, but it just I found nothing to do what the cottonseed meal does to these plants. Now again, the berrytone, a lot of people use berrytone on their plant. I have yet to use the berrytone. Now I have berrytone, but I've yet to use it. And I probably should have had the cottonseed meal bag out here to show it to you, but we'll probably come back if we have any questions. If anybody really wants to see the details of it, I'll bring my pH pen out. And my pH pen, basically, what I do is maybe every 6 months or so, I'll take my pH pen, I'll soak the soil down, all down here. I'll soak this down, and I'll stick that pH pen down into the soil, and that's going to tell me what my pH is. And that's parts of hydrogen. And the hydrogen ions in the soil it what dictate the acidity of the soil. So the more hydrogen that's in the soil, the more acidic your soil is. So that's what you hear when you hear people say pH in the soil. I know I've been hearing about pH since I started gardening, and most people don't even know what the pH stands for. But that's parts of hydrogen or percentage of hydrogen ions that are in the soil. The more hydrogen ions you have in your soil, the more acidic your soil is. The fewer hydrogen ions, the more alkaline. Blueberry bushes are unique in their nature because you just can't grow them like any other bush. You can put these in a bed with your collards, you can put them in the bed with your peppers. One or the two is not going to fare well. So these are things that you have to consider when you start talking about just planting your blueberry bushes in the ground. They're not going to do well just by planting them in the ground.
Okay, well, thank you for Keith. Thank you for that, Keith. That's a lot of
Yeah,
knowledge. I
yeah.
want to let's see, Kathy Barker. Good morning. She's asking when we get plants from the nursery, should How soon should we repot?
Well, for me, repotting always seems to do best towards the fall. Now, you can do it in early spring. That's a good time. But for me, I like doing it in fall, especially if you're talking about setting it up in the planters, how I have. And the reason why fall makes the most sense for me because it allows the plant to go through what they call a vernalization. Vernalization is what produces the flowers. Without going through vernalization, and that's your cold or what they call chill hours, a lot of people I see, they'll take their plants inside or kind of baby them through the winter, but your blueberry bushes has to have the cold. They have to experience that cold because that's what triggers the vernalization. The vernalization is what creates these buds, the flowers. So if you're keeping your, let's say, your blueberry bushes in the garage, and the let's say something like a bless your heart that has a chill hour of 150 to 450 chill hours, that's between 45 degrees that this bush needs to be somewhere in between that 32 and 45 degrees that this bush has to go to for that amount of hours in order for it to produce its maximum amount of berries. So we have to allow these bushes to go through their natural state, and that's that vernalization. A lot of people, as a matter of fact, I haven't heard a whole lot of people talk about vernalization. And vernalization is absolutely necessary when you're talking about doing these blueberry bushes. So, see if we can go
Okay.
down to the next question.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's go back to MK_P. Can you pin that question, Zay? Let's see. He's asked he or she. I'm not sure if it's a he or she, but I have my blackberry and blueberry bushes. I have my blackberry and blueberry bushes in pots. Do you have a video on fertilizers to use? We have hard packed red clay soil here that's hard to plant anything in the ground. And they're saying thank you.
Georgia, Zone 8A. We are known for our clay.
Yes, Lord.
If I dig anywhere, and this is part of the reasons why I do have my blueberry bushes in these raised planters, because if I go down probably 10 to 12 inches into the soil, I'm hitting Georgia clay, and that Georgia clay gets like a concrete when it dries out. Now, it's a mineral, so it really is good to mix it back into your soil, and that's what I do. I'll take that natural Georgia clay and I'll mix it back in with some peat moss or cocoa core, as a lot of people like to use now because you got so many people that don't want to use the peat moss. But you still want to mix that native soil in with your compost because that's what's going to give your plants the legs to stand on. That clay or that native soil is going to give you some foundation for those roots. So when you get those strong winds, your plants are just not toppling over. So that's something that I like to tell people also. Mix in that native soil so your plants are, once those roots go down, because you're going to get maybe 12 to 14 inches maybe that'll go down into the soil, but the blueberry roots are basically going to spread out, and then you'll have like a few little roots that may go down maybe 12 inches into the soil. So if you have a planter that's 16 inches tall, you're going to be perfect with your blueberries because they don't really have a depth into their roots. But the reason why you want a wider perimeter around it is because the roots are going to spread. The wider your pot is, the better, not the deeper. You can have a pot this size here, and it's not going to do very much for your blueberry bush because the roots are just not going to travel down. You want something very wide. So I always recommend people, and you can go to growingoutthebox.com, you can go anywhere, Amazon, but I have these planters now uh, in a manufactured planter in our 12 they're 12 inches high and 48 inches wide. So this is something that we have on growingoutthebox.com. Have a few different colors on there, as well as we got some blueberry bushes on there. We don't have southern high bushes, but we do have the Duke, Elliott, and I forget the third one that we have on there, but we do have a few blueberry bushes on there. So let's go to the next question.
Okay, and we do have about 108 people in the chat. Thank you guys for joining.
All
And
right.
let's see, can everybody hit that like button? We got like 55 likes. That just helps YouTube share the video. So we
Yes.
appreciate you guys.
And
So let's
if you guys would help, share the video yourself. Share the video because the more you share it, the more people will come into the live. Because like I said, this is something we're doing new. And you tell me, do you like this format with having Tam on one side of the screen? Because we're doing the YouTube now. I have StreamYard, but we're trying something different because I went live last week and we had a pretty good little crowd come into the live. So, and I know this early, people are at work doing your thing. So maybe a Saturday morning may be good, Saturday or maybe a Sunday morning. So you guys tell me because that's really what I want this channel to be about. It's really about you guys, whatever's convenient for you, because my schedule is flexible. I can pretty much go and come how I want to come. So if it's something that works better for you, a Saturday or a Sunday morning, we can do that. But I really like these mornings because you don't have the sun out beating on you. We don't have the shadows and the things that I can show in the garden. It's a little more comfortable and a little more detailed. So again, you guys let me know what is the best time that you think, Saturday or Sunday morning or weekdays as we're doing now. See what else we got in the chat. Tam?
okay, so Joan Alexander, good morning from Kennesaw.
Oh,
Let's see, she has
Kennesaw,
a
Georgia.
question. Yeah.
Okay.
She said, "Can you talk about fungus when leaves are spotted? When leaves get
Uh,
spotted?"
spotted leaf disease, or you could have what they call a septoria or anthracnose. Those are two of the main, and I think that's prominent also in rose bushes as well. Now, this is the answer to that. Way, if you're having problem with fungal diseases, when your blueberries go dormant in the wintertime, that's the perfect time you get a fresh start. Now, the thing about blueberry bushes, and again, I'm going to go back to the way because you're asking about the fungal diseases. This is why, I mean, and I'm showing you up close. It's like you can see the bush, you see all the new growth, and I'm going to try to find something that I would pluck off. I mean, my bushes are pretty, I can't really, okay, I see something here. Rust. I'm going to show you something here. Let's come over here. This is something that I look for whenever I come out. Let's see if I can spot that leaf again. You'll see your leaves fold together. You see my hands here? Your leaves will fold together and they'll start keeping moisture inside of that and they'll start to form rust. So if you ever see, and I just saw one on here and I lost it. But if you ever see your leaves on the tip of the plant and they'll be folded together like so, and what it is you'll have like some spider mites or something to get in there, and the leaves will be kind of folded together like that, and that will trap fungus inside of that. And that is one way that you'll, here it is right here. This is a perfect example. You see that? That's one of the ways that you can get rust into your plant. So these are things that you have to look for when you're doing your blueberry bushes. Now I'm gonna show you what happens when we do this. Watch what happens when I open this up. You'll see what it looks like on the inside. You see that? You see the
Oh
spider
wow.
web in there?
Yeah.
That's where that fungus is going to come from. And if you touch this, it feels literally like rust.
Hmm.
It has a texture to it. So when you see this like this here, it's a sacrifice. Get that off the plant. Just pop the whole piece off. And
Hmm.
that's how you pretty much maintain that. And you don't want to, here's another one here. And what it is, like I said, you have spiders that come in and they're getting, they'll keep that from circulating and that moisture does not dry out. You see it again. You see the spider web,
Hmm. Wow.
and then the leaves will start getting rust on it. Just take it off. Just pop the whole thing off. That leaf is infected now. Just get rid of it. And this is a constant, especially this time of the year where we're getting rain in and out. The more dew comes in, but that's what those leaves look like. Let me see how you see that. But if you were to touch that, it actually feels. You see my finger?
Mm-hmm.
That comes off. That rubs off, and then that spreads through the bush.
Oh
So that's
wow.
something that I and that's like I say, you're gonna have like mites or something like that come out there. But just pop the whole thing off. Just get rid of it. You don't want that on there because that'll start to spread. It's not going to get better. You're not going to save anything, and the whole thing is constantly managing everything. I always talk about being proactive. That's the biggest thing of anything that's in your garden, and that's just being proactive. So that's one of the main things. Septoria and anthracnose, and that's one of those things with rust. So you want to make sure. And going back to reiterate, wait. This is the secret, and I guess it's not a secret anymore because I'm telling everybody, if you want your bush to stay healthy, 50%, 50%. Do not use tap water. Tap water has chlorine and chloramine in it, and it'll kill the bacteria in here because what you've done is you've cultured the bacteria. The whey separates from the curds that are on the top. You can take the curds, spread it out in the cookie pan, dry it out, and then you can use it as fertilizer in the garden. But the whey is what you want, 50% whey to 50% either distilled water or rainwater, and just drench your leaves. And that is how you keep those funguses from landing on your plant.
And also, Keith, they can go back because you did a whole video on that. Be sure to go
Yes,
back and watch that video because
yes,
you break it down and show them exactly how to,
yeah.
do the mixture and everything.
If one
So,
of my moderators, G Bomber or Mike, if you can go and pull that video up for me and post that video where I'm doing whey and showing how to mix it. But that's a
hmm
very that is that's my number one tool that I use all around the garden. Even when I look at, let's go over here to the cucumber vines and all. Most people cucumbers are done for the year.
Keith,
My
let me ask you
cucumbers are
real quick.
still. Hmm.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, because
No,
time
go
is,
ahead.
we're getting close to 9 o'clock. I wanted to get this question in from Flip Stars 55. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ian from Minnesota. And they're
Hmm.
asking, how can I improve my drainage in a somewhat clay soil?
Uh, Raised bed.
So raised
I mean,
beds, okay.
raised bed. And people ask me why do I grow in raised beds? Why I grow in raised beds because I can I can control everything. There's nothing that you can't control the way that you build your raised beds because um, not speaking of the blueberries right now, but just in general, I do my raised beds a little different. So we'll take something like this for example. You got peppers, some yarrow, but just look at we're in the middle of the summer. Mm, huh? Can you hear me, Tam?
I can hear you fine. If everybody
Okay.
can hear Keith fine, if somebody can't hear him, let us know in the chat if there's any, any issues with that.
Yeah. So if you can hear me, everybody should be able to hear me, and it may be because my neighbor has the lawn service out,
I
so
can't hear him.
they're running lawnmowers. Oh, okay. So the microphone. But here, I'm going to take an example of this bed here, and this is something that I didn't show a lot of people when I first started doing the garden because a lot of the stuff I do is on theory. You see a lot of people take their raised beds and they put the yard debris, cardboard and stuff like that in the bottom of their raised beds to fill it up, and then they'll put maybe the top 6 to 8 inches with soil. I don't do my raised beds like that. And before I wanted to share that with you guys, I wanted to make sure that I had at least a year or two with these raised beds growing the way that they do before I even bring that to your attention. But what I do is, if you look at the bottom of the raised bed here, this raised bed here is 13 inches tall. So I'm going to divide that in half. So 13, so we're going to say about 6.5 right here. I've dug down 6.5 inches into the soil. And that is where I put my yard debris, grass clippings, leaves. That's all down here. And I take the native soil that I've dug out of that hole, and then I'll put that on top of the yard debris and stuff, and mix in a little either cocoa core or peat moss, and that becomes my subfloor for the bottom half of the raised bed. So you're asking like, well, how are you filling all these raised beds? that can get this can get really expensive filling all these raised beds, because I'm just going to take an example of, just hypothetically speaking, we're probably talking, if I were to fill all of these with soil from the big box store, I would say no less than $5,000. When you add up all the raised beds that I have, when you start talking about cubic feet and the amount of soil that it would take to raise all of these up and fill these beds up. And I see a lot of people do, based on the hugelkultur principles, they'll fill the bottom half of their beds. That absolutely doesn't make sense to me, because you're restricting your roots, and the roots are going to have to compete with the nitrogen bacteria that's going to be breaking that those boards and the roots and all of that stuff down. So you're going to be competing because the root zones are too close together. So my rule of thumbs in any raised bed is having 12 inches of soil as a buffer between your root zone and whatever the debris is that you're putting in your pots. So again, if your pot is 12 inches, you can't put all of that stuff in the bottom of that thing, because your roots are going to have to use that space, and you're really having to fight against the nitrogen bacteria that's going to be breaking down that nitrogen, and they're going to have a choice between, do they feed your plants, or do they try to break down that organic matter that you have in the bottom of your bed. So you're really fighting against yourself. Now it may take a year, year and a half for that to balance itself back out, and then those nutrients to start becoming available. But as new gardeners, most of the time, that just doesn't make sense to me. Especially, like I said, when you have free soil in the ground, your native soil is going to be your structure. That's what I use my native soil for, and that's in all of these beds right here. You're going to see, because a lot of people ask, well, why are you digging down into your soil? Well, because I want that openness, and I want those bacteria and fungi to be able to connect with what's in the bed. So when you put that cardboard down on the bottom of your beds, you're blocking the very things that you need in order to come up and be able to feed those plants, and that's your nitrogen bacteria. They have to break down the organic matter that's in the soil. That when you're creating a buffer in the middle of your soil, it's just like having it in a pot. Yes, of course, the cardboard will break down eventually, but you're making it harder on your plants as you establish your beds in that first year. So all of my beds are connected to the soil. There's no buffers in between, and it's the native soil that's put on the top of the debris, and then I put my good soil on top. So those
Okay.
are
Well,
some things that we want to keep in mind.
okay, bro. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to leave the chat in a little bit. But I do want to let everyone know that we appreciate all the questions. Keith will go back and answer anything that we didn't answer, but we're gonna kind of wrap it up in a minute.
Yep.
But
So I thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate it. I like this format that we're doing right now. And like I said, you guys tell me, do you like the split screen with Tam on one side and me on one side? Do we need more space to show more of what it is that we're doing, or we go back to the StreamYard format? So we're going to try a few different formats. But going back to our blueberries, we just want to say thank you guys for supporting the channel and the blueberries that we've been doing National Blueberry Month. We appreciate you guys. And any questions, go back down when the live chat comes back up and ask your questions, and we'll come back and we'll answer some of those questions. So I want to thank Tam. I want to thank my wife. I want to thank my son for all of them making this happen. And we're growing out the box.
Okay,
Peace.
Keith, let's do a few shout outs before we close. Let's
Oh,
just acknowledge
okay.
a few
Okay.
people
Okay.
and then wrap it up because we got like 5 minutes.
Okay. So
So
let's do it.
let's see here. I'm just scrolling to the top. Just want to acknowledge some people that were in the chat. Valerie Sparks, she's saying the video freezes. So we'll look at that. Thank you, Valerie. We'll
Yeah.
look at that for the next time.
Well, you know, that's
Share.
one of the things you're going to have when you live streaming. So you're going to have the freezes, you know.
Okay, and thank you again to all the moderators, Mike, G Mama, the Everyday Life of the OCD Chick. I saw Shawnee in there, so thank you so much to the moderators.
Yes.
Let's see, David Corey was in the house. Cheryl Norris was in the house. Let's see, Michael Green, Chili Chicken was in the house. Let's see here. Audrey Green, enjoy your presentations. Thank you, Audrey. Miss
All right.
A is in the house, the analytic gardener. Um, so thank you, everyone. It's a lot of John
Yes.
C., Steady Dripping
Okay.
Resin, Joan
Steady dripping
Alexander.
resin. I like that. Steady dripping resin. I
Yeah.
like that. All right.
ADW in
Now,
the house. Okay, so I'm
okay.
done, Keith.
All right. So again, I want to thank you guys. And we're again, this is a brand new format that we're sharing here. I know the analytic gardener has. I love the way she's doing her lives, but again, I just think being out in the garden is a little better than sitting behind a desk. You guys tell me if you rather have that staged, sitting behind the desk, stale type little environment, or can we tolerate the lag time every now and so often out here in the garden? That way I can show you as well as conversate and answer your questions right on the spot. You know what I mean? So again, once the live stream ends, if you have any questions that you want to ask about your blueberry bushes, again, we're celebrating National Blueberry Month. Uh, add your questions into the comments, and we'll come back and we'll answer as many as we can. But until then, growing out the box. Peace.
Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed weekend.